guys, welcome to the drive home. I'm Kristen.
I'm Megan.
And we are driving home from Magic Mike.
A little late because, we had priorities last week with Spider-Man and everything like that. So it's been out for a bit, but we thought we'd give our 2 cents anyway.
Exactly. Have a girls' night out, and what a night out it was.
There were definitely certain points of that movie where I'm sitting here going, this is the best movie ever. This is just fantastic. Overall, what was your general impression of the movie? General impression?
We are driving, and the guy in front of me is swerving into my lane, so I'm a little distracted.
Pick a lane, sir.
Yes, yeah.
You get to hear all about you wanted to hear about Magic Mike. You're going to hear about how people drive in LA.
Yes. Overall, it's funny. I read some of the reviews just to kind of, and I know friends that have already seen it, and it's getting a lot of mixed reviews, and nobody can doubt the talents of Channing Tatum, because man, that boy can dance.
That boy can definitely dance.
All of that.
He knows what he's doing when it comes to his field of expertise, I suppose.
And it's funny too. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a huge Channing Tatum fan normally, but I quite liked him in here. He was very endearing. I think he kind of rose to leading man status. I think this, between this, I haven't seen The Vow because I don't usually like those kind of movies. But from what I hear with that is he actually he held his own against Rachel McAdams, who is definitely a leading lady.
Yeah, she's definitely brought it a lot. But so somebody who can share the stage.
But it's not just, and if you've read the reviews like I have, most of them pretty much make it clear it's not just, guys taking off their clothes. They put a story in there, and it's a little dark.
Yeah, it was a lot darker than I thought it would be. And, granted, you should go in with no expectations for any movie that you go see. You should just go in and see it for what it is.
And on our way back, there's a guy whose license is Dick G. Just saying. I think it's a sign or a license plate. But anyways, moving forward, I just thought it was appropriate.
Anyway.
But anyways, yeah, it's definitely serious. It's not, it starts off, and everybody even in the audience is all kind of woo-woo, for every guy that comes up there and,
for the first showing, the first time they do a little Magic Mike show, everybody in the audience is like, yeah, this is what we came here to see. This is fun. Everybody's having a good time. The actors definitely looked like they had fun doing it and everything like that. But then, it gets a little bit serious. It talks a little bit about, what living this sort of lifestyle can do to somebody.
It's the old saying, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. and these guys, their shows end at 2 a.m. and they don't go home.
No, it's sort of like when you get off of work and you go do happy hour and things like that. You go to dinner and everything like that. And these guys, they do what you do at 2 a.m.
because restaurants aren't open and normal life isn't open. So it's definitely getting in potentially with the wrong crowd, and it shows the difference of, you've got the young guy, it was Alex, right?
Adam.
They kept calling him the kid, and he's played by Alex Pfeffer. I'm gonna mispronounce his last name, but he's the new guy in there, and Channing Tatum, I think, sees something in him that reminds him of himself, and so does Matthew McConaughey. They see potential in this guy because he owes Channing Tatum a favor, and it gets him up on stage to strip, of course, because whenever I owe people a favor,
that's how that goes. Yeah,
doing, I guess.
and so but then conversely, you have Channing Tatum, who even though he's sort of taking this kid under his wing, his main priority is getting his life in order. He wants to run his own business. He likes making things. He likes making furniture, and he wants to turn that into a business. And he's having trouble getting it off the ground. Not because he doesn't have the talent, not because he doesn't have the funds, but because living this lifestyle is sort of preventing that.
In a lot of ways too, and it's not just the fact that, you know, if you come in with a pile of cash into a bank and want a loan, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for a credit score. But on top of it, it was interesting for him because although he's starting to make the moves for it, was he really ever ready for it? And I think that was very interesting to watch.
To see him sort of go through. And then also, you know,
they all have these ideals, and it's, as somebody who's 24 and, you know, Megan's 23, and we have a lot of friends obviously around the same age that we all have these dreams and goals that we want to do. The difference between who actually goes out and does them and who just talks about it is kind of what this movie's all about.
Yeah, because
besides just really attractive men taking off their clothes,
which is also lovely. So yeah, there's that, and I think that's a very interesting, you know, way to go about the story, because it was loosely based on Channing Tatum's life, right, and his experiences as a 19-year-old kid who, you know, loosely based, of course. Hollywood always takes a few liberties.
Makes it more interesting.
And the cast was really good. I thought they all played their roles really well.
I thought Matthew McConaughey fit his character
so good.
Perfectly.
Like, because he's somebody who goes from being, like, funny and charming and very charismatic on stage to just being an underhanded slime ball, you know, at the drop of a hat. Literally. And then, you know, conversely from that, you know, going right back to being the mentor-y, like, fun, like, okay, yeah, it's your turn, this is your time, and, you know, one of those guys that you should never really trust. He's a lot of fun to hang around, but you don't trust him, especially when it comes to money.
And I think also just knowing because Matthew McConaughey, you know, is a huge star, and kind of knowing his persona that until recently, because now they're having kid number 3, he just got married. Until then, he was kind of he was a George Clooney-esque, you know, bachelor for life. And especially him, it's always the joke, like, I just want to take my shirt off.
Yeah,
and he's been known to have drugs or smoke pot and play naked on the bongos. And he lives in an RV. So the free spirit of his character, it adds to the fact that that's kind of his persona that, you know, the public sees him as too. So it's very believable to see him in that free spirit role. Heck, he had bongos a few times.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. I thought that was kind of funny. and yeah, all the cast, you know, playing the guys, you know, who work with Channing and Adam, or I'm calling him Channing like that's his character's name, but who worked with Mike, that's right. Who worked with Mike and Adam. You know, they were all fun, and again, you know, they had these ideals, and then you also see how a lot of them aren't really ready too, because, you know, you have the one guy who gets Adam into a lot of trouble, you know, later on.
And some of them, that's what they're going to end up doing with their lives, and you kind of hope that Adam doesn't go that way. And the story's also set around, you know, Channing Tatum, Magic Mike, who also you kind of hope don't go that way. And of course, there's always a girl. There's a girl who brings it about.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see Channing Tatum sort of trying to develop a relationship with her, and there's this sort of girl that he keeps, you know, falling back on when he's hitting lows. There's this one girl he's always calling up, and it's not the girl he needs to be with. And, you know, it's kind of funny because that you can tell anytime, like, he's talking to that girl that's the way it is. She knows that he's not right for her and that she's not right for him, but she's always like, oh yeah, I'll totally call you later. No big.
And she's played by Olivia Munn, who's kind of been doing a lot more roles now. I also watch her in The Newsroom. And
oh, is she in The Newsroom now?
She is.
Oh, that's good.
She's a reporter in there. And the girl who plays Alex, I say Alex because this is the actor's name. Adam's sister. She's newer. I was reading about.
I really liked her.
I was very much excited for this movie, so I read a lot about it. And actually, when I went out of screening for work at Universal, we walked out there, they were filming MTV, and Channing Tatum was there with Matthew McConaughey and Alex. I'm going to mispronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try. They all three of them were on stage being interviewed. So I've kept up with this movie, and I'm a True Blood fan. So Megan brought up a good point. There was not enough Alcide.
Yes.
Not enough Joe.
My biggest complaint about the movie is not enough Joe. We see quite a bit of Joe, but we don't get him enough as a character.
No,
He doesn't get enough
don't.
screen time.
And he was hilarious. His facial expressions for everything.
Out of all the cast members, you know, who do this show, like his was the story I really wanted to know about. Not just because he's Joe, because Joe's adorable, but because he was really funny and everything like that. And so you kind of every time he is on stage, like he always, I think, had the most stage presence. But yeah, it's just kind of like when your eye is constantly drawn to this person, you're like, I want to know more about you, and like didn't really get a whole lot of that, even though he was like one of the funnier ones and everything like that. So
yeah, the movie was basically just centered around Adam and Mike.
Yeah, it was definitely their story.
But it was very, if you're going in there looking for a fun romp, which definitely has its moments, and it's more at the beginning, because after a while, you know, you see that they do the same routines, and I have been to a Chippendales, and I have been to Thunder from Down Under, and it is basically the same routines for both shows, just one has an accent and one wears a bow tie. and all of the songs that you see from those shows are also
incorporated in there. Yeah, if you've ever been to either of those, this will be very familiar.
There's always some sort of military, you know, uniform one going on. There's It's Rated Men, and no stripper show is complete without Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
And so yeah, it is seeing a movie, this sort of movie, because, you know, having been an audience member for one of those shows, it's interesting to see the camera turned around from the stage perspective, and, you know, to have it be like, you know, see people who are blushing and giggling and, you know, having a good time. But yeah, to see that night after night as you're doing this, because it is your job, you know, it definitely takes a toll on you, just like any job. Exactly. And so that was interesting to see too.
That's all fun for quite some time, especially when you're young. And Adam was 19. Well, he did not look 19.
Yeah, but that's his character.
19 years old, like that. But the fact that he's 19 and Mike's character pointed out to his sister, who's the grown up in that relationship, definitely takes care of her younger brother, and she's like, you know, why this? And he goes, because your brother's 19, he hasn't experienced life, and here he gets women and money, and
he has fun.
And he has a good time. If you can call that a good time. Some of it. Obviously, yes, you can call that a good time, but they show certain things where, you know, if you go and party too much, it doesn't always turn into a good time at the end.
No, not at all. And they do a really good job of highlighting that.
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh it's his film, so, and he's usually very good at putting a bit more depth into stories. But we are almost home, so final thoughts, Megan.
If you're looking for just sort of a superficial fun time, like there will be some scenes in this movie that you will really enjoy yourselves. But if you're not really looking for something that gets a little serious, then, you know, maybe skip this one or wait till it comes out on DVD and just watch those scenes. But if actually you're looking for something to surprise you, and this surprised me, if you're looking for a slightly more serious, like, look at this whole sort of lifestyle, then yeah, this is a good one. Again, if you're just looking for a fun time, you know, maybe see something else.
Yeah, I liked it. I was expecting it to be a little bit more serious, which I think was good, that I was. Overall, I give it, like, if I was grading it, if it was a paper, I'd give it a B, which I liked it. And obviously, I mean, there are just some very attractive men in there. Some nice eye candy that way. It should have been in 3D. But overall, yeah, I liked it. You know, I wasn't in love with it, but I liked it quite a bit, and it's a good girls' night out, because no matter what, it's still definitely a girly movie. It has good guy parts, though, that I think guys can learn from it, because although not every guy's a male stripper, there's certain jobs that cater to that lifestyle, and you don't have to strip.
And yeah,
for it.
you can
As somebody
definitely-
who worked in a bar for a little bit,
yeah, this
there's
is
a lot of
definitely
nighttime occupations. that lend to
anybody
that.
who's worked in a bar or worked some sort of night shift like this, you'll definitely see a lot of familiar things, and you'll be able to identify a lot with this.
So thanks for tuning in on the drive home. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.